Chapter 1. The Night She Was Marked. The rain came down like whispers from another world, soft, silver, and oddly warm. Aria Rivers stood beneath the tangle of old sycamore trees behind the estate, her silk dress clinging to her legs, damp hair tangled down her back. The night should have been festive, celebratory even. 21. A coming of age. Balloons and cake, music and laughter. But all she felt was wrong. As if something in her blood knew tonight was the end of her old life. "Aria!" Her cousin Lila's voice called from the mansion behind her, distant and light-hearted. "Are you seriously hiding in the woods during your own party?" Aria didn't answer. She couldn't. The pressure in her chest had built steadily all day, like a storm gathering behind her ribs. Her skin tingled. Her bones ached. Her vision swam with strange flickers of light that no one else could see. She had smiled through it, hugged well-wishers, cut her cake, but the entire time she'd felt like an imposter in her own skin. Now, barefoot on the wet grass, she felt seen for the first time that day. The woods behind the estate were forbidden, left untamed for decades. Locals whispered stories, of spirits and beasts, of witches who vanished and children who returned with white eyes and silent mouths. Aria had never believed in such things. Until tonight. A cold gust brushed past her ear like breath. She turned sharply. Nothing. Then, crack. A tree branch snapped. Her heart stopped. "Hello," she called out, voice trembling. Silence. She took a slow step backward. The ground pulsed beneath her bare foot. No, not ground, roots. The trees were shifting. Breathing. She ran. The forest closed in as the rain turned to mist. Her breath fogged the air, her chest burning. A sound behind her, like claws scraping against bark, sent her into a full sprint. Then she tripped. Fell hard. Mud splashed up her arms, and she twisted onto her back just in time to see it. Not a wolf. Not a man. Something in between. Its body shimmered in and out of focus, black as ink and towering with sinewy limbs. Its eyes were burning coals. Its snarl was wet and guttural, a beast dragged from hell. It stepped closer. Aria screamed. Suddenly, the air tore open. 3 shadows burst into the clearing like lightning incarnate. Fast. Violent. Terrifying. Wolves. But not like any she'd seen. One was massive, dark as obsidian, eyes glowing like twin suns. The second shimmered silver-white, lean and fast, every move precise as a blade. The third was a deep russet, eyes feral green, body built for destruction and freedom. The beast turned, snarled, and lunged. But it was no match. The black wolf tackled it with a roar. The silver one circled fast, slashing with fangs. The brown wolf bit into its leg, dragging it down. Blood splattered the trees. The air rang with snarls and howls, until finally, the beast collapsed. Dead. The 3 wolves turned slowly toward Aria. And time stopped. Each of them took a cautious step forward. She should have run, screamed, done something. But she couldn't move. Her breath caught when the black wolf reached her first. He lowered his massive head and pressed his snout gently to her collarbone. A burn seared her skin. She gasped. A rush of heat exploded through her body. She tried to push back, but then the silver wolf stepped in. Did the same. A second mark burned into her skin, this time on her left shoulder. Her scream was silent now. And then, the third. The russet wolf, with green eyes that ached with something ancient and sad. He pressed his head to her neck. And marked her. Her vision exploded into white light. She heard herself scream, raw and wordless, and then the world was gone. When she woke, she expected pain. Instead, there was warmth. She blinked. The ceiling was stone, carved with unfamiliar symbols. A roaring fire lit the room. She was lying on soft furs, dressed in linen. The scent of pine and smoke filled her lungs. "She's awake," a low voice said. Aria sat up fast. 3 men stood across the room, watching her. Each was impossibly striking. Each radiated danger. The first, tall, broad-shouldered, black hair curling at his jaw and a jagged scar across his collarbone, spoke first. "I'm Ryker." His voice was smoke and command. "Alpha of the Black Mane. And you are claimed. The second stepped forward. Silver-blonde hair, pale as starlight, and eyes like frost. Dorian of Silverest. His tone was cool and intelligent. We didn't plan to mark you. The bond happened. Instinct. Fate. The third leaned against the wall, arms folded, green eyes watching her with quiet intensity. Tattoos climbed up his arms like vines. Kain. His voice was rougher. Wary. Loner. Former alpha of the Holofong. I don't follow rules. But I followed something to you. She backed away. Marked, she repeated. What the hell does that even mean? You're not human, Dorian said gently. Not anymore. Not since we touched you, Ryker added. Aria shook her head. No. This is insane. You felt it, Kain said. That heat in your blood. The ache in your chest. It's been building, hasn't it? She swallowed. Yes. Dorian stepped closer. You're Velmyra-born. A bloodline thought extinct. Your ancestors ruled before the Pax. Before even the Council. Don't, Aria said, backing up. Don't tell me I'm some chosen one. I didn't ask for this. No, Ryker said. But it chose you anyway. The first night in the Vale. Aria stood on a balcony high above a pine valley wrapped in mist. Below, wolves howled. She could feel them in her bones now. Everything was different. Her senses. Her skin. Her pulse. She touched the 3 spots on her body where they'd marked her. Each still burned. She didn't know what they wanted. Didn't know who she was becoming. But one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. Chapter 2. The Blood Pact. The following morning brought no peace. The sky above the Vale was pale blue, but it felt wrong, too still. As if the land itself was holding its breath. Aria sat at a long stone table in the Grand Lodge Hall. Her fingers gripped the edge of her teacup. Her eyes burned from lack of sleep. Everything inside her screamed for answers. Across from her, Ryker leaned against a carved pillar, arms crossed. Silent. Steady. To her right, Dorian pored over an old scroll, silver hair gleaming under the morning light. Unbothered, unreadable. And Kain, he leaned against the far wall, distant, watching her like a storm might watch a candle. Aria's voice broke the silence. You said I was Velmyra-born. What does that mean? Dorian didn't look up. It means you were never meant to live among humans. Ryker's tone was deeper, rougher. Your bloodline vanished over a century ago. Hunted. Erased. Why? She asked. Kain spoke, voice low. Because the Velmyra were the only ones stronger than the Alphas. Aria blinked. Stronger how? They could bend the bond, Ryker said. Create or destroy it at will. They didn't follow the pull, they commanded it. Dorian finally looked up. They were immune to control. Immune to submission. And some say, able to mark alphas themselves. Aria stood. Her heart pounded. Then explain this. She pulled her tunic down just enough to show the faint burn marks on her collarbone and shoulders. You marked me. Without asking. Without permission. It wasn't a choice, Ryker said. It was instinct. Your presence triggered something in all of us. We didn't even shift consciously, we were drawn to you. And now I'm stuck with 3 cursed brands on my skin? You're not stuck, Kain said. You're bound. I don't want to be bound. Neither did we. Silence fell. Dorian sighed, setting down the scroll. But what's done is done. And there's no known way to unmark a Velmyra. Aria stared at the flickering fireplace. So what now? Ryker straightened. Now, we protect you. Because the Council has already caught scent of your awakening. They'll come. They always come when something powerful rises, Dorian murmured. And you think I'm powerful? Not yet, Kain said. But you will be. Later that day, the trial grounds. Aria stood in a stone arena surrounded by trees and mist. Dorian stood beside her, hands behind his back. Focus, he said calmly. Velmyra don't shift like wolves. Your magic is tied to blood and emotion. Aria frowned. What emotion? That's the beauty of it, he said, tilting his head. Whatever you feel most deeply. She closed her eyes. She thought of fear, pain, confusion. Nothing happened. Then she thought of anger. At them. At the council. At fate. Her fingertips tingled. The air shimmered around her. The ground vibrated. Dorian stepped back. Open your eyes, he said. She did. The world had slowed. Trees bent slightly away from her. The wind circled her like a ribbon of smoke. She gasped. You're awakening, Dorian whispered. That evening, Ryker's lodge. Ryker's room smelled of pine, iron, and worn leather. Aria sat near the fire, wrapped in a fur cloak. Ryker stood by the window, staring into the dark woods. Why don't you talk much? She asked. He didn't turn. Because I don't want to make promises I can't keep. Then don't make any. Finally, he faced her. His voice was low. I've killed for less than what you are. She flinched. But I'd die for you, he added. She blinked. He crossed the room, crouched beside her, and reached up to touch her face, but paused. May I? She nodded. His fingers brushed her cheek. Then he kissed her, firm, grounding, a little rough. When they pulled apart, she was breathless. And confused. I kissed Dorian yesterday, she whispered. Ryker's eyes darkened, but he said nothing. You're angry. I'm possessive, he said. There's a difference. That night, the feral truth. The dream came suddenly. Aria was in a field of blood-red flowers. The moon hung low. A howl echoed in the distance. She turned and saw Kain. But not as he was now. His body was twisted, bleeding. Chains dragged behind him. You were supposed to choose me, his voice echoed. I didn't know I was meant to choose anyone, she whispered. You marked me too, he said. I didn't mean to. Didn't you? His form shifted, twisting into shadow. You think you're innocent in all this? She screamed, and awoke in his bed. She had shifted to his cabin in her sleep. Again. Kain sat by the window, shirtless, tattoos glowing faintly. I felt your fear, he said without looking at her. Aria pulled the blanket around her. I dreamed of you. Bleeding. He glanced at her. Then you saw the truth. What happened to you? He said nothing for a long time. Then. I was supposed to die 5 years ago. The council spared me in exchange for a kill. Someone I loved. She stared. You didn't. I did. And I've hated myself every day since. So if you want to run from me, I get it. She crossed the room, stood before him. I don't want to run. He looked up. And she kissed him. Not to prove anything. Not to choose. But because she wanted to. Because some wounds begged to be held. The pact. Later that week, the 3 alphas stood with her before the sacred tree. Each held a ceremonial blade. This is our blood pact, Dorian said. A vow to protect you. From the council. From each other. From yourself. Aria looked at them, one by one. She didn't know what she felt. Love. Lust. Destiny. But she knew they were hers. And she was herself again. They sliced their palms. And marked the stone. And with that, the ancient tree bloomed silver leaves for the first time in a century. Aria had forged what no Velmyra before her had ever done. A blood pact not with 1 alpha, but 3. Chapter 3, Ties That Burn. The days bled into each other, fast, hot, and restless. Something was shifting inside Aria. A slow-burning power. It licked at her skin when she touched the sacred trees. It pulled at her veins under moonlight. Her control was slipping. Her dreams were turning violent. And so were her desires. The choice that wasn't one. It began with Dorian. They were in his private library, surrounded by ancient scrolls and candlelight. He was explaining the runes carved into her skin, the way they glowed differently depending on which alpha she was near. They react to emotional resonance, he said. The stronger the feeling, the stronger the bond. So if I feel nothing, she said, the marks stay dull? His gaze lifted to hers. Do you feel nothing? Aria's mouth parted, but no words came. Dorian stepped closer, touching her forearm. I try to stay in control, he said. But around you, I forget how. She kissed him. His hands gripped her waist, urgent and precise. Her body trembled with the fire of connection. It was not gentle. It was not slow. But it was real. When they pulled apart, his forehead pressed to hers. I would burn down kingdoms for you, he whispered. She didn't respond. Because she didn't know if she wanted a kingdom. Or something simpler. Confessions in the dark. Ryker. That night, Aria found Ryker standing in the war circle, staring into the sky. Thinking about battle? She asked. Always. She stepped beside him. Why did you become an alpha? She asked. My father died in my arms, he said. Murdered by his own beta for refusing to join the council's purge. She stilled. I was 16. I ripped the beta apart with my bare hands. The pack knelt before me. I've never known peace since. You carry so much, she whispered. I would carry you too. If you'd let me. She touched his chest. He pulled her close, kissed her like a man who was terrified of hope. It was softer this time. Slower. His hands trembled. When they pulled apart, he said, You're already inside my bones, Aria. She laid her head on his chest and said nothing. Because the words I'm sorry wouldn't be enough. Unleashed. By day 7, Aria's powers had begun lashing out without warning. It started with a spark in the training field. Then a gust of wind shattered a glass window. Then flames licked her palms without intent. Kain found her in the sacred pool that night, knee-deep in water, shaking. Get back, she gasped. I can't stop it. He didn't hesitate. Walked straight in. Kain. He grabbed her wrists. Look at me. Her eyes were glowing silver. Her veins shimmered. I'm losing control, she sobbed. You're not. You're becoming. Becoming what? He kissed her. Fiercely. Desperately. She kissed him back harder, tasting madness and longing. Then, her power burst. Water exploded upward, spinning around them in a silver cyclone. Kain didn't flinch, even as his chest burned with her heat. Even as the water fell, and they collapsed in the pool, tangled, wet, breathless. I don't deserve you, he murmured. She touched his face. Then don't make me choose. The secret. The next morning, a scream tore through the compound. Aria ran toward it barefoot, breath ragged. A wolf lay dead in the courtyard. Torn open. Eyes burned out. Dorian knelt beside the body, pale and still. It wasn't a rogue, he said. There's no sign of struggle. No broken gates. It came from inside. Inside? Aria asked. Kain cursed under his breath. Someone here did it. Ryker arrived last, eyes immediately narrowing. The scent, he said, kneeling. It's hers. They all turned to Aria. Her blood went cold. No, she said. I haven't shifted since last night. Your mark's glowing, Dorian said quietly. She looked down. The russet one. Kain's. It pulsed faintly. You were with me, Kain said, shaking his head. All night. I would have felt if you left. Unless she didn't need to leave, Ryker said. What are you saying? She's not shifting in body anymore. She's projecting. Half-shifting in sleep. She could have killed in a dream. Aria backed away. No. I wouldn't. I couldn't. No, Kain said. You wouldn't. But she might. Who? The Velmyra in you. The part you're not controlling. The part that's getting stronger. Dorian stood. There's more. I wasn't going to tell you yet, but the council knows. Aria's breath caught. How? I told them. Silence. The world collapsed inward. You did what? Ryker roared. They were going to burn Silverest if I didn't comply, Dorian said. I gave them your location, not your name. I was trying to buy us time. You betrayed her, Kain growled, fangs half-shifting. Aria stepped between them. Enough. She turned to Dorian. Is that what the kiss was? A way to buy my silence? No, he said, face hollow. The kiss was real. She stared at him, then slapped him, and walked away without a word. The vision. That night, Aria collapsed in the middle of the sacred glade, clutching her chest. Silver light poured from her skin. She screamed as images flooded her mind. Flames, council blades, 3 alpha corpses, and a throne made of bone, with her sitting atop it. When she awoke, blood trickled from her nose, and her eyes glowed white.